So Caleb, before that break, I was on to you and I was asking you, a really straightforward question. Did NASA anticipate the High Court ruling yesterday that now allows that all candidates will be able to participate, that Uhuru Kenyatta now has somebody to go against, even with the withdrawal of Raila Odinga?
Yes, NASA was fully aware of the case existing in the court by a Kurau court, and we considered all options, all outcomes of that case. So when the NASA presidential candidate was making that announcement, it was privy to either way the case will be ruled by the High Court. And remember, as I said, NASA is composed of very stable legal mind who actually wrote the same constitution we are arguing about. Where we are as a country, we are looking at a situation, and I want these people to take it to...
Which people?
The Jubilee, my colleague here. You know, they are trying to amend laws. In fact, what he has been misleading Kenya on, that we are trying to amend laws so that we close the lacuna that is in the Constitution. That is a total lie. The lacuna that exists, they have not even captured in the electoral law amendments. What they are doing, they are actually taking back. Remember when we changed the law, the electoral system of voting, we actually wanted to make it electronic so that the results, remember, democracy is not determined by just voting. Actually, democracy is determined by the people who count and how the results are transmitted. And they're taking us back again to the manual system, where it's like it's actually taking back to Mlolongo. And that's why I suggested, if we are actually going back to the Mlolongo system, we are taking this country backwards, the democracy of this country backwards. So the laws that they are passing is illegal in the first place. It's not going to see the light of the day. They'd be challenged in court, so it will be useless. The exercise they are doing in the parliament, it is exercise in futility. And
that's why I'm saying that even with the Electoral Laws Amendment Bill notwithstanding, if NASA anticipated that, we could actually have an election on October 26th.
Okay, fine. Let me finish that. Let me get the question. Yes. The question that the NASA anticipated. That's why we made that ruling. And we are not going to have an election on 26th of October.
Sure.
That one, take it to the bank.
All right.
We are not going to have an election. Why? Then the candidates who have been allowed on the ballot, they were there previously.
Yes.
And you know the kind of candidates we are talking about.
But I mean, it is their right to be on the ballot.
It is their right, but all of us know these are candidates who are sponsored by Jubilee. So we actually know these are candidates who will announce that I want to vie, and he goes back to watch a television.
We cannot really confirm if the Jubilee project.
Where do they campaign?
Better we can't have a one-man. We can't have a one-man. We can't have a one-man interview.
And they go back to the television just to watch how people are campaigning.
All right, but at the end of the day, it is anybody's right to run in a political race.
But I think I need to respond to this. We can't have a one-man interview because my friend cannot sit here repeating that we won't have an election.
Yes. Please answer him.
One, I want to say this. We are dealing with a group of people who are very ingenuine. First, the NASA side is trying to cheat the electorate that they don't participate in parliament. Betty, when we were being sworn in, every member of parliament in this country was sworn in, including him. They were sworn in. And allowing to be sworn in meant that you are ready to start transacting business in parliament. So one, they are conning Kenyans. Because you don't attend parliament. I believe yesterday members of parliament were paid, they were paid. They have never been to parliament. They have conned Kenyans. I've seen a viewer there saying that NASA people have this attitude of conning Kenyans in a doubt. I want to say NASA has never been prepared to have this election. They don't want an election. And it's bad for my friend to say that you know the kind of candidates. So the only candidate we have in this country is Raila Odinga. If any other Kenyan tries to vie for an elective position, this country is not a candidate until Raila Odinga vies. I want to tell the nation this, that Betty, the NASA side is not interested in the development of this country. When we elected, yesterday we passed the supplementary budget. Imagine we elected a member of parliament, the supplementary budget has been passed, and he's sitting here, he doesn't even know what is in for his people in the supplementary budget, and he's a member of parliament. We are going for, he says now they have been paid a salary. Yesterday, we passed the national ad policy. You seated as a member of parliament, a national ad policy was discussed, what do you go to tell your people? 2 weeks ago, we passed the old policy. We are not only doing the amendments. Parliament is in work, and we members of parliament who came to work for the electorate, we are ready to work. If you have people who are interested in learning around the town and stealing things and pretending they're having demonstrations, then we can't prevent them. But saying that we are doing things through a back door. What is a back door? Is Parliament the back door? I think the back door is doing letters at night and sneaking them to the IBC and calling them irreducible minimums. They should come to Parliament and bring this irreducible minimum of theirs to Parliament. We legitimize them. But you can't be writing letters like you are writing to your girlfriend every now and then to IBC. Oh, these are our minimums, 11. A year now they added a 12 minimum.
But NASA has been on record saying that, it does not matter if they participate or not, because Jubilee will use their numbers, to curtail any process.
Yes,
that
let me answer that a bit. Let me answer that a bit. You know, the Constitution is very clear that sovereign power lies on the people. And people can exercise it either directly or through their elected representatives. Where did these numbers came from? When I vote today in Parliament, I don't vote as Patrick. I vote for a constituency that voted for me. So if we see a bill passing in Parliament by majority, it means, don't look at the members of Parliament. Look at those members of Parliament as representatives. It means majority of Kenyans have passed this bill. And that's what we call democracy. So next time we go to an election, we should tell Kenyans, please try to balance this number so that NASA also gets more members of Parliament. It can't happen. This is what we call democracy. And one, if they complain that we are defeating them because of majority, what have they brought to Parliament that has been defeated? They have not brought anything to Parliament since we opened the Parliament. So we should not even be discussing the issue of being defeated in Parliament or winning, because they have never proposed anything in Parliament anyway. All right.
Let me bring in Murigi Kamande. Murigi, are you there? What is your reaction to, what the two members of Parliament are saying with regard to the electoral laws and also that ruling yesterday?
You see what is happening. Every side has to take a position that favors their political divide. At one point, you see a Caleb trying to delegitimize everything that has been happening and blatantly saying that whatever that Parliament is doing is a nullity. But the truth of the matter is, right now as we operate, the National Assembly is in place, Senate is in place. Whether members of NASA are participating or not, what we have is that there's a record in Parliament that shows how proceedings are ongoing. And then it is not a fiat that any time that somebody is going to challenge those laws, they are going to succeed merely because there was no participation from NASA. So what I understand is there's a process. Everybody wants to legitimize whatever they are doing. The other side wants to legitimize the process that is being undertaken. At the same time, I don't also think that some of the grandstanding and arrogance that is being exuded by the Jubilee side is equally important. I think at some point everybody should be brought on board. People need to discuss these issues. But I don't think it would be possible for anybody to be forced, for example, to attend proceedings in Parliament.
All right.
I saw the other day, it was a very bad incident, that members of Parliament are making headlines for fighting within the precincts of Parliament, where there's a debate that is ongoing in there. And then you also have records that some people just go to Parliament, they key in, and then they leave. So you have people who are not so certain of what they really want to do, but because they want to appease their political masters, they do not want to participate in the debate, but at the same time, because they want to earn a living, they also want to ensure that they do not also lose their seat, so they go backdoor and ensure that the record shows that they are present in court. So I think there's so much ingenuity from both sides of the divide that what we need to do is we need to put things straight, and we need to put, we need as Kenyans to put our feet on the ground and say, let's do away with this. We cannot have this perpetual campaign period, this perpetual uncertainty. We need to move forward as a country.
And talking about putting everything straight, Murigi, from where you sit, what really would be the solution moving forward? Because, I mean, as much as Raila Odinga has decided to withdraw from the race, and indeed if he holds on to that, and maybe he's not part of the race, I mean, he still holds massive support from this country, and then you have a polarized nation. So how really do you bring, people together, and how do we really end this stalemate? Because it's one thing for the law to say something, but really this is a political process that touches on Kenyans.
You see, that is where the main problem comes in. That neither side of the divide wants to, each side wants to have their own way.
Yes.
And one of them wants the law be followed to the latter and have elections within 60 days. Another one says that unless now we don't just want to have an election, we want to have a credible election. And you see now that push and pull, and in the process, if we do not do an election within 60 days, if by that 30th October we do not hold another presidential election, let me tell you, we'll find ourselves in an uncertainty that we've never found ourselves before. Because we do not have explicit provisions of the law that tell us that in the event that this fresh election is not held within 60 days, what is going to happen next, and whether it is going to affect the legitimacy of the processes that have been ongoing.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think we need to relook at those irreducible minimums. We also need to relook at the hardline stand that is being taken in regard to the law amendments. And I think every side is trying to use their strengths to ensure that they carry the day.
Right.
But personally, I would advocate that both sides reach out to each other and see whether we can have a better way forward.
All right, Honorable Amisi, is it a possibility that these two sides can reach out? Because at the end of the day, he mentioned that, you know, he is a member of parliament representing the people of Chukwuemeka. You're there representing the people of Saboti. These are Kenyans, really, and they're being, taken, round and round in these political circles.
And I thank the lawyer for bringing that topic. That's where we need to go as a country. Honestly, the chest stamping of these Jubilee people, I want these Jubilee people.
There's chest stamping of Jubilee people, but there's also this hardline position by NASA.
It's not a hard
people.
line. It's for the good of this country. I want the Jubilee people to face Kenya in the eye, look Kenya in the eye, and tell them, is this law actually good for posterity of this country? It is not about having the numbers. You can have as many numbers you have in the parliament, but are you using those numbers correctly? Are you in parliament just by voting machines?
Yes.
Are you there? No, just listen, because the more you talk, the more you'll not get the point.
No.
And probably I should frog-march him back to the parliament, because that's where he belongs.
About this,
you don't belong in parliament.
You know, we need to be very, very honest to Kenyans. This country is actually going to the dogs because of people like him.
That's where you
So
are
what we need to do is this. We need the leadership. We need the leadership from Jubilee to call upon the leadership of NASA and the IBC and all the stakeholders and come together and say, we have these laws that are actually going to affect all of us. Are they good in the first place? What reservations do you have?
Hasn't that been bypassed? No. Hasn't that been bypassed by time? Because
it has been bypassed because remember the IBC called all the presidential candidates for a meeting to solve some of these similar problems you are going through. And our candidate went. What happened to the Jubilee candidate?
I think I need to say this. I think I need to say this.
Let me just hear Patrick.
You know, our friend, you see how he has got excited when our friend, the lawyer, has brought up the issue of sitting down and talking. You know, this is what NASA has been looking for throughout. Where they are going to State House. What happened when he was made the Prime Minister? We want to tell him that this thing is not happening this time loud. And when
what thing? The
power sharing, we are not doing any power sharing this time loud. And I want to tell my friend Caleb. I want to tell my friend Caleb. You don't take it. Betty Caleb, the NASA.
Honorable Amisi, kindly. Let me just finish
you need to listen to me, my friend. You know there's a demonstrator. You called a demonstrator to house. You know he is missing going back to the streets. But what I want to say is
your take on
this. You know, when you tell us this country is going to the dogs, and we are the ones who are taking this country to the dogs. I saw there are people yesterday breaking to shops, breaking to other people's cars, who are taking this country to the dogs. I want to when you say you are not invited to discuss the merits or the demerits of the amendment, as a member of parliament, you need a letter, an invitation letter to come to parliament to discuss the merits or demerits. The merits or demerits of a proposed amendment are discussed in parliament, not in the streets.
But don't you think that the two main contenders, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila, should bring this country together? Because at the end of the day, who are they?
The best way of bringing this country together, Betty, is holding an election. But how do you bring a country together with the people who are saying we won't take part in the election? There will be no elections in this country.
All right. I want us to wrap up, and I want us to have. I want to hear your wrapping thoughts.
Yes.
I'll start with you, Honorable Amisi. Then we'll go to Murigi Kamande. What do you have to say about bringing this country together? Because it does not help us to sit here and argue all day about this and that, just stamping and hardline positions.
And thank you for that, because we need to move. Kenyans is hurting. The economy is hurting. And I want to tell this country, and most the supporters of Jubilee and the Jubilee, that there'll come a time when you will look for somebody like Raila Amolo Odinga in this country. You'll look for liberators in this country. You will cry for them. You'll never find them.
All right.
Your
wrapping thoughts, Patrick.
My closing remarks, I want to say this. The economy of this country is not doing very well, Betty, as we talk now. And when I look at the NASA side, I don't think they are committed to saving this country. Because the only way we can save this country, Betty, is going to the ballot, doing an election in 26th of October, just like the Supreme Court said. But when we have a candidate who says that there will be no election, you just start one day and say there is no election. I looked at Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta last time when a petition was taken against the election again by the same Raila Odinga. Uhuru Kenyatta was so humble. He waited for the ruling, and when we didn't go to the street as TNA and URP members, we waited for that ruling.
Okay.
We have been faced by the same scenario again. His election was annulled. Not Raila Odinga has win. Uhuru Kenyatta has win. And Uhuru Kenyatta came out and said, we want peace in this country. I don't agree with this ruling, but let's go to the election, which is the best way to take this country forward. But my friend Raila Odinga told his people, let's go to the streets.
All right. Your wrapping thoughts, Murigi Kamande, before we finish this discussion?
I believe both members of Parliament agree that the situation we are in is not good for this country, it's not good for the economy of this country. Everything is hurting. And I believe that the way forward is, if elections are not held on the 26th of October of this year, things are even going to be worse. Yes. So both sides of the divide should brace themselves. Let everybody use their tools, their best that they believe are true. Let people go to the ballot on the 26th. Whatever the outcome, I believe Kenya must move forward. That is my mantra. Kenya has to move forward. We do not have to be in a perpetual politicking environment.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Murigi Kamande joining us from our analysis studio. He is a legal mind. And I've also had Honorable Caleb Amisi, who's a Saboti Member of Parliament, together with Honorable Patrick Munene, who's the Chuka Igamba Ngombe Member of Parliament. I can see they're shaking hands, so please, if you're the supporters of any, there's no beef. You've not shaken hands? Can we please shake hands?
No. Because you can't live on the street demonstrating.
The one who's trying to humble himself to Kenyans.
Okay, gentlemen, they decided not to shake hands, but anyway.
Report to job.
Yeah, so moving on swiftly, we have to